the benefits of living in a state where marijuana is legal. Borderline personality disorder. Cousins. I know. None of you thought I was going to whip out the cousin one, did you? I didn't even know that. But this video is dedicated to two cousins. This is going to be the most personal video I have ever done. And I'm even thinking about breaking one of my golden rules of this channel, being that I make sure that nobody that knows me in real life sees these videos. That nobody that really knows me sees these videos. Because, see this right here? Want me to get a closer shot of it? Right there is why I don't let friends and family know my YouTube channel. But this right here will show you how my anger gets. And it's all around here. I could show you a bunch of different examples, but I'm not going to because it's not necessary. That's physical anger. I also suffer from emotional anger, where I lash out instead of physically, emotionally, where I go after people and I try to just knock them down. And well, being someone with borderline personality disorder, I'm really good at knocking you down. I can knock you down real good emotionally because I spent my whole life getting kicked down to the... I spent my whole life getting knocked down and kicked in the face. So you may be asking yourself, well, why are you saying that this video is about cousins? What do cousins have to do with borderline personality disorder? Well, cousins are the closest to siblings that I have. Especially these two. That's why I'm talking about cousins. I don't know, borderlines. Have any of you been in this situation? Where you're an only child in a horribly abusive relationship. And not by your choice. You're in a horribly abusive relationship because of your birth. It has nothing to do with you. You were born into it. I was born into a fucked up family. I have a family of fucked up genes. I was born into a family of drama. Then I was cursed with being an only child. I was such a wicked bastard that my mom said, no way will I let another evil demon seed come out of my vagina. Then again, other than my father, I don't think she could find anyone that wanted to plant an evil gene in her vagina. So I was an only child. But I did have two cousins. And luckily, at this point in my life, my mother was really close to her sister. You'll notice that I said sister. My mother has 4 sisters. 4. She was close to one of them. And it's probably the sister that she's the closest to right now. Here's the way my mother looks at it. If she's not close to you, fuck you. Fuck family. Fuck teaching my kid about my family. That's the way my mom operates. Well, luckily, at this point in my life, my mom was close to one sister. That sister had 2 children. Who are the ones that I really do consider sisters and not cousins. We're like brother and sisters. I mean, I considered them like my sisters. I didn't even know what sisters were. I'm an only child. I didn't have sisters, I didn't have brothers. But that's them right now. Hello? Not much. Well, that's shitty. You want me to come give you a jump?
Yeah.
To protect the names of the innocent, we're going to call these two individuals Sarah and Emily. I got your back, cuz. So, for the first 10 years of my life, they were not like cousins. I mean, they are first cousins, but we were together every day. Every day. Is that factually true? Probably not. But it could be, and nobody can tell us if it was not true. Logically speaking, were we together every day of those 10 years? Logically, I'm pretty sure there was a couple days that we missed because my mother lived in a separate spot than her sister. So logically, I'm thinking there were a couple days where maybe we didn't see each other. But history doesn't know because nobody's been keeping a fucking record. I know I was over there a lot. Did we see each other at least 4 times a week? Definitely. Did we see each other 5 times a week? Definitely. Here's how I know. Because my mother was a single mother. And I went to the same schools as my cousins. Same school district. My mom had to go to work before I had to go to school. So I know at least every morning that my mom got me up out of bed, drove me over to my cousin's house, and then we went to the bus stop. And that went on for years. How many years? I don't know. My mom took me away when I was 10 or 11. So I'm pretty sure all the years that I was in school there, during the school year, I was over at my cousin's house in the morning. I don't remember ever going to school with my cousins not being right beside me. And we formed this bond. Me, Sarah, and Emily formed this bond of fucked upness. And it was a fucked up bond, and we were fucked up kids. And the reason that I can let them know about this channel is because of that bond. Because I know they're not going to be hurt by anything I say on this channel. No matter what I say. Because anything I say on this channel is not going to hurt them. Because they are as close to me as I can get in this world. They're closer than my mother, they're closer than my father. I'm not close to anybody on this fucking planet. Except these two. And I love them to death. Because their parents were not so good. Now I'm not going to get into anything that has to do with their family or their growing up. Because it's not appropriate, it doesn't matter. This is about me, this is my journal. What I will say though, just to clarify and to let you guys understand, is that as fucked up as my childhood was, they were dealing with some equally fucked up yet different types of stuff. Whatever that is, fill in the blanks. Go wild with your imagination. But that's where the bond came from. Now, had my Bob been a single mother raising a child with an abusive husband, I don't know if the bond would have been so strong between us, even with all the contact and with the way I was over there all the time. But since my mother was a single mother raising a child in an abusive relationship, and then I'd go over there, and whatever was going on in my cousins' lives were equally as traumatic, but not same events. But there was trauma going on there too. Wasn't the greatest situation. Who's to say whose was better, whose was worse? As far as I'm concerned, they were about equal. We were kids. And in a kid's mind, I guarantee you they were equal. Because kids don't think the way we do when we grow up. Today, I mean, now we could probably get together and talk, and we could be like, we could probably pick out who had the most fucked up childhood out of the three of us. If we were to go to a bar right now, start fucking slamming drinks and talking. By the end of the night, one of us is going to feel like shit for thinking that their shit was traumatic. The other one's going to be a little bit pissed off because they almost won. They got like second place for fucked up childhood. And then the last one's going to be annoyed that the other two are all like, oh my god, I didn't know. You were our, you kept us going. You did it all. And all three of us are open for that top position. Who knows? I personally don't know if we'll ever have that conversation. Or if it even matters. But I know as children, we were equal. We all had fucked up situations. We all didn't understand them. And we all had no support. Zero. Zero support. Except for the three of us. That was our support. And that's all we had. And we came together and we got so close. And then I was ripped away. I was moved all the way across the fucking state. Or not. And I was moved all the way across the fucking country. So, borderlines, this is my cousin video. This is my point. Could my condition maybe have something to do with the fact that my mother made the decision to take the only two people in the entire world that would not abandon me, that would not give up on me, and who have stuck by my side, and then rip me from them, move me all the way across the country? Could that have something to do with my feelings of abandonment and all that? Because I was a child. I don't understand things as an adult. As an adult, if I move across country and I love you and I care about you and we have this bond, well, first off, if I have this kind of a strong bond with somebody as an adult, I don't move across country. First off. No way in hell. If I have this bond with you, there's no way in hell I'm going to move that far away from you. And if I do, you're coming with me because I'll kidnap your fucking ass if need be. But as a child, I had no control. My mom says we go here, we go there. So we moved. And then now I'm in a new life. And they get to continue the life that, we had. So, as a child, what do? I love these two individuals. And I would never abandon them. And I believe they would never abandon me. And we have this close bond, and it's always been us since the beginning of my existence. As far as I'm concerned, we've never really been apart. Now we've moved. And I'm not an adult, I'm still a child, I'm 10, 11. And it was a different time, too. You gotta remember, this was like 90, 91. There wasn't the internet. We didn't even have AOL yet. We didn't have dial-up. We didn't have nothing. The only way to communicate with my cousins would have been to call them on the phone, which I did try a couple times, and I'm pretty sure they probably tried to call me as well. But when you're a child, you have to go through adults. And adult drama. And who knows what the drama was. Remember, I started this with, my mother was closest to one sister. And that worked for 10 years, but then all of a sudden we pack up and we move across country. I have no idea what transpired. I don't know if her relationship with my sister changed, or I don't know if her relationship with that sister changed, and that's why we moved. I do know that after the move, she talked to that sister less, and I've never heard her say positive things about that sister again. Ever. Does that mean that they do not communicate and contact and talk? No, they do. But in the... Fuck. What did I say I was? 10 or 11 when we moved away? I'm 35 now. So in 25 years since we moved, the first 10 years of my life, my mother and her sister, and if you think I'm going to give names, you're wrong. My mother and my sister were like that. But my mother also had 3 other sisters, but there was only one sister that were like that. And that worked. And then somewhere around the age of 10 or 11 of my life, they weren't like that. And we moved. And I've never heard my mother say a positive thing about this individual ever again. But I know they still keep in contact. So I'm thinking something happened. Something happened. There was an argument of some sort. And my mother's very stubborn. I mean, I may have borderline personality disorder, but this bitch has like narcissism, I think. She's almost like a narcissist. Like if you don't agree with her, she don't give a shit about you. But I suffered from it because I was taken from the 2 people that really cared about me. And back in the early 90s, there was really no way other than through adult channels to keep in contact. And I made a couple phone calls, I know, and well, my aunt would pick up, or you know, her husband would pick up, and Sarah and Emily were just never around. I never got to talk to them after we moved. Writing letters, I didn't. Because I'd rather talk to you on the phone, and I didn't write letters. And I'm horrible at spelling. Even to this day, I can't spell worth shit. Writing a letter, I'm a kid, fuck letters, goddammit. If you want to hold me responsible for not writing a letter, go fuck yourself. They didn't write a letter, so they didn't think about letters either. But maybe they did. Let's say they did. Here's how fucked up my family is, alright? Is that even if they did write letters, with the way that I know my mother is, and I know the way that her sisters are, and I know the way my grandparents are, my family's very fucked up. There is no way that I can say with 100% honesty that these individuals would not receive a letter for a child or a grandparent or a there is no way I can say honestly that these individuals that were raising us would receive a letter and give it to us. Because it's the way they are. They are not opposed to punishing their children for their mistakes. And they never have been. Ever. Because all 3 of us, me, Sarah, and Emily, have had a checkered past. And have had trouble in growing up. And none of that trouble ever started before we were separated. Now, am I saying that's a coincidence? Probably not. I don't believe in coincidences. Now, am I saying that if we'd stayed together and been a solid unit, that we all would have turned out good? No way to say that. It's a theory. It's possible. Because we kept each other together. The dynamic of the 3 of us together was very strong. And after I got ripped away, I never was able to contact them again. And years go by, and years go by, and you try for a long time, and then you can't, and then you just feel abandoned. You stop trying. But you still hold that feeling of like, these are the people that I was the closest to in the entire universe, and now they've abandoned me, because you start to villainize them for abandoning you, especially if you have borderline personality disorder. Well, what about on their end? Maybe they tried to call me. And see, this I can say for 100% accuracy, balls down truth. My mother would use her sister's children against her. If my mother was mad enough at you, she would. My mother is not the greatest person when she's angry. She is great when she's not angry, but don't you dare cross her, because she just don't give a fuck once you cross her. Sound familiar? I'm kind of the same way, but I wouldn't use someone's children. But it is very possible that if they tried to contact me, my mom would say I wasn't home or throw away letters. I hate to say it, but it's possible. I don't know if it went down that way. I can't confirm it. So as far as I'm concerned, it didn't. Unless me, Sarah, and Emily actually get to talk and figure this out. Because there's one way to figure it out, because we all have a memory of what went down. If we were to get together, we could figure it out. But we've been estranged for years. A lot of years. 25 years. And over time, that bond diminished. But not the feelings behind the bond. And since I've started doing YouTube videos and been more active on Facebook and started talking about stuff, well, we live in the age of technology. We have Facebook, Twitter. Look at, I'm doing a fucking YouTube video. This is amazing. This would have been futuristic shit back in the 80s. Woo! And I've gotten in contact with one of them. I've gotten in contact with Emily. And we've talked. We've had an actual conversation on the phone. We had previously interacted. I mean, I did go back to my home state at the age of 18. She was 16. But I was down there to find my cousin Sarah and to punch my dad in the face. And that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to punch my dad in the face, and I wanted to talk to Sarah because I needed to. I still haven't gotten to talk to Sarah, but I did punch my dad in the face. I was lucky enough to hook up with Emily, and we spent a couple hours together. But it was kind of weird because of our ages. And Emily, if you watch this, please understand that it was the ages that we were at in our childhoods that made it weird. We hadn't seen each other since I was 10 or 11, which would have made you... Wow, that would have made you 7 or 8. So you were 7 or 8, and I was like 10 or 11 when I left. And then when I came back, my mission was to see your sister and to punch my dad in the face. And that's all I cared about. And I was 18. I just turned 18. So I'm just 18. Which makes me stupid because I'm a man now. You know, I believed I was a man. I'm a man. I'm a man now. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to punch my dad right in the face. I'm going to knock him the fuck out. That's all I care about. And I'm going to see my one cousin, and I'm going to settle an issue there too. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm a man. I've lived 18 years. I know it all. Fuck. I didn't know fucking shit. I was so confused. And I did enjoy hanging out with you, but the bond wasn't there. And I think you'll even admit it was awkward. It was weird. It didn't feel like we connected. Not the way we connected when we talked previously. Now that we're actual adults in our fucking early 20s, right? So now that we're actual adults in our early 20s and we were able to have a real conversation, that bond came back instantaneously. And I loved that. And I'd like to get that back with Sarah as well. And after talking with you, I actually feel less empty inside. I mean, could the very cure that I've been looking for is to find the two people in my life that I considered to be all I had in my life. I'm an only child, so I do not know what it's like when you have a sibling, a brother or a sister, or even what it's like when a brother or a sister are no longer there. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, if you had a brother or sister that passed away, what would that do to you? Or a brother or sister that you had an argument with, that there was no way you could rectify it, there was no way of fixing it. But our bond had never been a bond that you couldn't fix. It didn't seem like there was anything, because of our childhood, it didn't seem like anything would ever come between us. Because if you have a brother or a sister, but you live in a household that is normal, you will normally grow up to despise your brother and your sister, at least from my research. But if you have a brother and a sister where you went through fucking the shit together, where some really wicked, nasty, nasty stuff happens. Stuff that you don't even want to talk about, and none of you want to talk about, but you all remember it, and you grew up through it. That's a bond I don't think you can destroy, except with death. And then what do you do when they're gone? Well, anyway, I would love to know my sisters again, because I don't think he has cousins. As far as I'm concerned, you're sisters. And really, if you want to get even deeper than that, as far as I'm concerned, we are one. One unit. Because of the way we were raised, and we were at those ages. I mean, my oldest, I would have been the middle child had we been siblings. So Sarah would have been the oldest, I would have been the middle, and then Emily would have been the youngest, had we been, siblings, brother and sister. And we were all, I believe, 3 years apart exactly. 3 years apart. Now that's an amazing bond that can build, because nobody's too old, nobody's too young. I mean, those 3 years do matter. But growing up in a fucked up situation, there's still not so much of a difference in ages that you can get a really cohesive bond going. So what if all these years, the reason I'm so crazy is because I don't have the ones that really care about me. Or maybe I'm fucking wrong. I don't know. Anyway, this video has been very personal, so I would please ask you to leave as many hate comments as possible and just rip me a new one so that I can hate humanity a little bit more. And that's pretty much all I have to say on that topic.